Feeling myself, but I stay in my lane. I know you thinking you nice, but you sounding the same. He need to switch up his flow, but I know that he ain't. Shit, maybe he want to and probably can't. He talk a lot, but ain't saying a word. He's 16, sounding like he be lacing his herb. Reggie Rock told me time to just focus and spit. Quit worrying about the niggas abandoning shit. I dropped broken and they told me quit biting your tongue. The way you writing sounded like you forgot where you from. Say you from the hood, but you sound like a minister now. Yeah, I could take it there, but shit, I just like how this sound. I should address some of this drama, but letting it go. Shit, I can't keep playing with you niggas, I'm getting too old. The last words Bone told me I never forget. Quit playing with this music and do it to death. Shit, I came back.
That like button, hit that share button, tell a friend and tune in, subscribe, like, do what you got to do. Let's get this thing started. First and foremost, thank you for tuning in. It is important that you tuned in today because I want to celebrate one of our ancestors. Today is the 54th, well, actually yesterday was the 54th anniversary of the assassination of one Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was a revolutionary. He was a member of the Black Panther. He was the president of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party of Self-Defense. He was struck down not far from where I used to live. I mean, literally 4 doors down from where I used to live. He used to have rallies on an annual basis. They eventually knocked down his former residence, and that got away with the. They should have made it a monument so we can always remember, but they didn't. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you a brief clip of what went on with Minister Fred Hampton. The reason I'm going to show you this clip is because we can never forget what happened to Brother Hampton. We can never forget that he was a vital portion of the civil rights movement, and we can never forget how and what was done to him and why. What I'm going to do is do this, and the things that he's speaking about is a lot of what I'm going to talk about today. I'll be right back. This is Brother Fred Hampton. Rest in peace.
You basically knowing my ideology, basically knowing yours, you can support some of our programs. Is that what you're saying?
Why not?
And you believe in programs like the Breakfast for Children program and free health clinics? Right on, brothers?
We believe they're good things.
Uh-huh.
As a focal point to organize their mothers and fathers.
Uh-huh.
Peace.
Mm-hmm. There's no educational program here?
That's come out of the social action thing. You set that up, but I mean, we can't put everything on one piece of paper.
What about this bank?
Credit union?
Mm-hmm.
Credit union. Credit union, my brother.
Is a bank.
Are you hip to credit unions? It is a bank.
Yeah, you go and borrow money?
Yeah, it's a bank. It's a bank. Owned by the people, run for the people, and by the people.
What will money be given out to people for?
Well, the people would decide that. You want to buy, whatever, the people in the community decide. You need some living room furniture, maybe? You need a car, maybe?
See, the thing is with me, you dig, I need to know some more about it. I wish you had some more literature about the educational thing here. Because, you dig, as far as we're concerned in the struggle, the way we look at struggle is that this depends on the educational thing, you dig. Because
this depends on the education. Well, the whole thing.
No, but in the end, this does. You can form this with no education. You can form this.
No, not the way we're talking about forming it. Right. We're talking about forming it right. It's not on the paper. We didn't write it on the paper.
Form it right with no education.
No.
Okay. Let me give you an example. Yomo Kenyatta formed the excellent revolution with no education. And on the end thing, Yomo told the motherfucker, I said, well, you can educate hate the enemy, but I'm your brother. I'll help you lead the revolution. Now I'm gonna press you. Another example, Papa Doc in Haiti. Papa Doc in Haiti hated everything white. Man, you couldn't put this white paper in front of Papa Doc's face. But he moved all the white people out and he took over and be oppressed. He did, causing no education. And the people that have been educated, they just said that we don't hate the motherfucker white people, we hate the oppressor, whether he be white, black, brown, or yellow. So we got to know the educational program to find out what is going to be in the finale. A lot of people, Yomo Kenyatta is called not never a revolutionary, but an ex-revolutionary. So it's Papa Doc. They brought on a successful revolution. That thing in the Mamas was a bitch. Bantu freedom fighters, all that kind of action. What we're saying is that it's the end. But you don't judge Castro now. You can't do it. Nobody in this room could judge whether Castro's going to be a revolutionary or not. You know what I mean? We're talking about things, you know what I mean, with China, the People's Republic, and even at the stage they're in now, talking about even going on further into a communistic state. That's what we're talking about. Those are revolutionary. So we got to understand here the educational program that you have to be able to figure out whether it will go on the right lines where the people will end up in a situation where they can be able to really control themselves. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, the people take this local foundation and start stealing money because they won't be really educated to why it's the people's thing anyway. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism, like you got in Africa now, like you got in Haiti. So what we're talking about is there has to be an educational program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, we are so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionalist movement. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more. And before you know it, they'll be capitalists. And before you know it, we have Negro imperialists.
And I'm back. Thank you for tuning in. This is H-Rap. I'm coming at you live and direct. It is Tuesday. This is Build and Destroy. And what I didn't do was what I normally do is send a salute to my parents and my ancestors, everybody with them. Because of them, I am here. Dolores and John. Those are my parents. Without them, there is no Build and Destroy. There is no me. Coming up is my anniversary, which is on my mother's birthday. Salute to my mom. Rest in power. Now, what you just saw was a couple dudes who I would consider plants. What are plants? Plants are put in place and they pretend to be for the cause, but they're not for the cause. They're their B cause. What is the B cause? Because they want to take advantage of the situation. They came in ill prepared. They came in uninformed, and they attempted to pretend as if what Brother Hampton was on, that's what they were on. And I'm just here to help the people. They used a couple of buzzwords. They used a couple of flashcards, and they thought he was in it for the money and he was in it for the glory, but he was only in it for the advancement of the people. Now, I don't like it myself to Brother Hampton, but what I will do is say I understand exactly what he's coming from. Brother Hampton took a stand where most people wouldn't. They would have took advantage of that money. They'd have put themselves in a situation so they could build a credit union, knowing it's not going to harm their credit bureau and things of that nature. And then they would have been, like he said, they would have been Negro imperialists. What is a Negro imperialist? That's a person who was captured by the glitz and glamour of having money and will do anything and hurt anybody to get it. A lot of people don't even realize they're Negro imperialists, but they really are. What I want us to do is capture the essence of what he's saying. Education is the key. Education is the key, because without education, we have nothing. The people who are attempting to kill us, I'm going to be frank. Today, I'm going to be like, I've been called a revolutionary. I've been called a radical. I've been called a know-it-all. I've been called a lot of things. But today, I'm going to live up to all those things. And some of those things, I'm going to be extremely opinionated tonight. And this is just the way I see it. I've actually soft-soaked it for a very long time. But tonight, after learning the things that I've learned over the last 7 days, there is no room for soft soap. I got people who I've made promises to. I got people who depend on me for leadership. I got people who depend on me to be who I am. And I got people who I've made promises to again. And I've never let anybody in my family down, never any of my close associates down, never anybody I love down. And I'm not going to start today. Why am I talking like this? It's because I have come to the conclusion with the studies that I've made, the research that I've done, I've come to the conclusion as I didn't want to use a lot of television references. I saw this on a television show called The Honeymooners years and years and years ago. Ralph and Ed had this rent strike. They weren't going to pay the rent. Ed Norton walked up to Ralph and said, "We have met the enemy. We are theirs." Meaning that we thought they were enemies against us. We are enemies against them. And that's how I'm looking at the power structure here in the United States of America. A lot of people in the House of Representatives, a lot of people in the Senate, a lot of governors, a lot of people who run these cities, they look at us as enemies because they've attempted to kill us for hundreds of years and we will not die. So they're going to do everything they can to put us back in bondage, put us back in captivity, and they have done a great job of setting the stage. Education is one of the very first things Brother Hampton said at the beginning of this. And if you're coming in late, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate you being here. Please watch the beginning of the show because that will that will set the stage to what I'm talking about this evening. Again, These people are enemies at this point. They're doing everything they can, poisoning the food, poisoning the water, eliminating possible places for employment, undereducating our children, undereducating us, giving us lies on television when we, at one point, we were raised to trust the people on the news anchor desks, and now they're not even reliable. You got news outlets out there that you may not know about, but they're putting out the news, but those are not the outlets that you either A, know about, or B, trust. You can trust me or you can't. You can do all the research, and I encourage anyone and everyone who will ever watch this to look into every single solitary thing that I say. Don't allow H-Rap to tell you what it is, because guess what? H-Rap might make a mistake. You may mishear H-Rap. You may not even believe me. Pretend that I'm lying on everything, and you need to double check everything that I say. Back to the program. But we have met the enemy. We are theirs is the point. What we do in the United States of America as a working class society, or as the Black community, because that's exactly who I'm speaking to today. I'm not speaking to the Black and brown community. I'm not speaking to Black people, the good white folks. I'm not speaking to the good these people. I'm talking to my folks, because guess what? We have been the target of the ire of the people who are in control, white, old, rich, white men. The majority of them. I ain't trying to hear this nonsense. Oh man, there's some good white people out there. Well, you know what? It ain't enough of them, because if it was enough good white people making moves, white people don't want to give up the power in this country. Whether they're the good tree-hugging liberals or the angry, vitriolic, spewing, hate-filled right-wingers. They don't like us. Let's get that out of, because look, we've been in this country for almost 1,000 years. We've been on this continent for 1,000 years. This country's been like 1492 when the Pilgrims got here, and then they created the country about 180 years later. And since then, we've been catching hell. And even before that, we were catching hell. We were enslaved before then. We were enslaved. We were legally enslaved after that, and we've been on the short end of the stick ever since then. Now, if it was some good old white people who cared about humanity, why is it that this man has been dead for 54 years one day? Dr. King has been dead for 54 years and 6 months. Malcolm X has been dead for 59 years. And guess what? The same things that they were fighting for in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, the teens, the 1800s, we're still fighting for now. How is it that it's getting better? It's getting worse. No, it has never changed. It got to a point where those people in the civil rights movement, our ancestors and our elders, they were fighting their butts off, and they got us to this point. And then everything they've done has been systematically been pushed back into to this day. Roe versus Wade, the Civil Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, affirmative action, all those things have been repealed. You can't do that overnight. That takes a decade, several decades, a century to repeal all these things. And guess what? These people are doing every single solitary day. They're taking their time to systematically put you back into an oppressive state, because guess what? Let's just be honest. If we had control of the country and we could rule the way we wanted to, how many of us would be willing to give it up? And that's what all I'm saying. It's everybody. Don't nobody want to give up absolute power. Don't nobody ever want to be even. And it's not a competitive thing. It's not, because they're not trying to compete with you, because we've shown over 160 years at this point, that if you give us an opportunity, we'll take over. But then what we do is fall back into this comfortable position that we followed into since that man's death. The man that you saw at the top of the show, Brother Fred Hampton, since his death, we got comfortable. We started getting good jobs. And we start closing out our shops and start integrating with their shops. And anytime you integrate something, you make it weaker. You put some coffee, you got a cup of coffee. You can put some milk in it, it's a little weaker. Put some sugar in it, it's a little weaker. You put whatever else you put in there, it's a little weaker. Next thing you know, it ain't the strong coffee that you initially made to energize, put a little boost in you. It's a little weaker because it tastes a little better. It's a little cuddlier. But guess what? The people who make coffee, they love it that you do it that way, because now you need more coffee. And then you're going to need more cream. Then you're going to need more sugar. You're going to need more everything else that you add to it. Now you're going to need some more flavor. So now you're making them richer, and you making your intestines weaker, and you're gonna die sooner, you're gonna need medication sooner, and all these things. This is what's going on with the power structure in these United States of America. I ain't got nothing against anybody who walked the earth, but I do have something for my people, and that's information. There's a thing called Project2025.org. Project2025.org lists the game plan of the right wingers and the moderates. I mean, and anybody else who's saying, I don't want to give up power. That's what they're saying. I don't want to give up power. And they have no intentions on giving it up. And they will destroy you to get it. Point blank, period, end of sentence. They keep putting out misinformation. They go, man, the Democratic Party don't do anything for us. They didn't do this and they didn't do that. And then when you have conversations with people, they're so busy trying to prove you right that they're not even listening to what you're saying. Look, anybody who's ever watched this program, you understand that I ain't got any allegiance to any party in the history of this world. Because guess what? I'll show you why we don't need any of. This is why. As Brother Fred said, education. And this is why we should never have allegiance to any party. The Democratic Party used to be the party of the Confederacy. They used to be the party of the people who wanted to oppress you. The Republican Party, they are the people, that's Abraham Lincoln's crew. But guess what? Abraham Lincoln wasn't your friend. Because he said he never wants us to be judges. He never wants us to hold office. He never wants us to be able to vote. He never wants us to be equal to anybody else in this country. Abraham Lincoln, the one who they told you, honest Abe, and he loved your people. No, he offered $300 in the 1800s. Do you understand what $300 was in the 1800s? $300 to go back to Africa. And then they colonized what is called Liberia. They colonized Liberia. And they said, we'll send y'all back over to Liberia. So you're going to take some more people land, and you take all 4 million of us and ship us back. After we established the situation, after we won the war for you, after we got everything back in order, we get on out. So we stayed. And ever since then, they've been the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. You've had the Civil Rights Act of 1965. You had Roe versus Wade. You had Brown versus Board of Education, and a myriad of many other laws that have been laid out to benefit you, and we don't even know the laws. So how can we benefit from them? We've been tricked into what? I mean, we got consumer power, consumption. If you're older, if you're my age, if you're from the 70s, what is, if anybody who can remember this, most of us are. Look at my numbers. Most of the people are my age who watch this program. Consumption. Remember, that used to be diabetes or the sugar. What is consumption? Consumption eats you. How can you consume yourself into power? How can you consume yourself into power? You can't. You cannot consume yourself into power. Listen to what consumption. We have consumer power. Explain to me how getting up, going to work every day to a job that most of us don't like, dealing with some supervisor who don't like, who if we could, we get away with, we'll bust them in their mouth or choke them out or something of that nature. I don't want to sound violent, but I understand. I've been there. It's been times that I wanted to bust my supervisor right in his chops. Martin Nielsen. But anyway, understand, you cannot, you're getting up, going to work every day. You get is more stuff. Everything, potato chips, milk, bread, sugar, meat, eggs, soap, everything is going up. And your pay is staying right here. And then you got to deal with some clown at work. Now, what you're going to do is consume your way into power. That don't make any sense. You cannot consume your way into power. Now, what you can do, Christmas coming up, you're already hurting because you didn't run out there to that Black Friday thing. You ain't stand out at Walmart and fight everybody and act a fool with everybody. They upset about that. What you do is you reach out, and I'm going to start posting individual businesses on the screen on a weekly basis. I'm going to start posting that stuff on the screen on a weekly basis. What we can do is run towards people who making home goods like candles. Women love candles, soap. There's people out here making soap. There's people out here crocheting things. There's people out here making lines of clothes, not just t-shirts and things of that nature. I'm talking about it's people out here that's making lines of clothes. My man right here, he has his own clothing line right there. YBE Apparel, Chicago. He has his own clothing line. I'm start posting his website on the screen every week. We can shop with him. We can shop with Style Guys. We can shop with Two Wise. We can shop with anybody. If you reach out to me at @HRAP_B or on Facebook, Brian D. Williams Sr. Brian D. Williams on Facebook. I'll post your information, because what we can do is buy things from our people and keep the money in our people. Just imagine, look, I've said this to y'all 1,000 times. If we start shopping with him, guess what? We can make him quit his good government job, because we can, look, 60 million of us, if 500,000 people order from him tomorrow, he got to quit work and fill all those orders and never go back to work. Think he don't want to do that? But see, that's our consumer power. Going to Walmart, going to Target, going to Best Buy, going to buy a new car. That's not consumer power. Consumer power is making him buying from him. And then he has to go buy t-shirts from a black-owned t-shirt apparel place. And then they have to go buy from this people that are black, and so forth and so on, until we get back to him. That's the consumer power that they duped you into believing that you already have. Oh, we have trillions of dollars. Well, if that trillions of dollars is doing this and not doing this, it does us no good. But back to the point of education, we must educate ourselves on these things. We must educate ourselves and put ourselves in the best possible situation so we can survive. These people are literally with the long game. They don't plan for today. They plan for 60 years down the road. These people start, when Dr. King came to power, they start plotting against us even harder that day. We're going to give them a little bit of this. We're going to let them relax, and then we're going to cut their heads off. Dr. King dies. Next thing you know, we integrated it throughout the 70s. And what they do, when you got good and relaxed, they put that cocaine, they put them guns in the streets. Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Miami, Atlanta, Texas, all throughout the South Fork and Texas, the Fifth Ward in Texas, and Louisiana, and Memphis. Those places went nuts. They went nuts, and they got our people jacked up. I bet you it is not anybody in my community who's ever going to listen to this program who does not have a family or a friend or or a neighbor, family member, friend, or neighbor that was not struck by the drug situation, incarceration. Do you understand? These people have gone throughout the nation and bought up the prisons with one, oh, we'll buy y'all prisons and we'll run them. But one thing, you got to keep them at 90% capacity. Understand what you're looking at. You got to keep the prisons 90% full. And you wonder why the music that we listen to, is raunchy and sex driven. The TV shows that we listen to are filled with violence. And then you got people always saying it's them, it's them, it's them. You know what? Me and my man Mo last night, we talked about the artists. Why don't we ever talk about MCA? Why don't we ever talk about Polygram? Why don't we ever talk about Jimmy Iovine and Warner Brothers, who put those records out? Why don't we talk about Viacom, who own all the radio stations, who play that music? You don't think her got no good music? You don't think Beyonce got no quality music? You don't think all these other artists, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, they ain't got no, it ain't 15, 20, 100 Jill Scotts, 15, 20, 100 Erykah Badu's. NDRE is always dropping music, but their music not on the radio. This foolishness is. And I listen to the foolishness. I'm not going to stop listening to the foolishness. I played some Ghetto Boys on the way here. Man playing tricks on me was playing on the way here. But we have to understand, man. These people are getting us to the point where we keep saying, hey, man, the Democratic Party ain't did nothing for us. I want y'all to understand, man. The Democratic Party ain't going to ever do anything for us. Because like I told you, man, the Democratic Party used to be the party of enslavers. The Republican Party used to be the party of freedom, right? Nope, it ain't never been a party of freedom. They just didn't want to do what they wanted. But understand, in the 50s, it switched. Oh, we for the black people. You've never been for the black people. How is it that it's been 70 years and you ain't done nothing for the black people, neither party? Oh, man, I ain't voting for Joe Biden because he rolling with the people who hurting the people in Palestine right now. Black people, that ain't your fight. Look, I'm down for humanity. But my tribe is in danger. My tribe is my family. My family, my children gonna hang out with your children. My grandchildren gonna hang out with your grandchildren. So I can't say, oh man, forget you and your family, because your family gonna touch my family. I don't care if you live in New York City and I live in Chicago. I don't care if you live in San Diego, California. I live in Chicago. I got family from coast to coast and border to border. I got friends in Jersey. I got friends in Seattle, Knox in Jersey, Robert Smith in Seattle. I got family all throughout California. all up and down the coast of California. I got friends and family and loved ones in Texas. I got friends and family in Florida. See, I got friends and family everywhere. So ain't no such thing as your people and my people. Our people should live around each other. But these people are on the grind to get rid of you. They, oh man, we can't vote for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is Sweet Daddy on Good Times. Remember the dude Sweet Daddy on Good Times. And if you're old enough, you remember this one episode where Sweet Daddy needed a transfusion and JJ gave it to him. And there was this dude named Too Good. And he was trying to kill Sweet Daddy because he wanted to control the hood. The Republican Party is Too Good. The Democratic Party is Sweet Daddy. Neither one of them doing good for black people, but you rather deal with Sweet Daddy than Too Good. Sweet Daddy gonna pimp you, Too Good gonna kill you. And those are the facts. These people have no, exactly, my man Ken in Arizona. Those people have no good intentions for us. Point blank, period, end of story. So let's stop the nonsense. The Democratic Party ain't done nothing for us. What the Republican Party gonna do for you? I'm gonna tell you what the Republican Party gonna do for you. The Republican Party got people talking about we gonna vote independent because we ain't gonna vote for Joe Biden. See, Donald Trump, he signed the bill to fund HBCUs. No, there's a state representative from the state of South Carolina. Her name Alma Adams. Again, fact check me. Fact check me. Alma Adams wrote that bill in 1989, and Bush the Senior, Herbert Walker, Clinton, W, Obama, and Trump signed the extension of that bill. So he ain't done nothing. Nobody. Look, I'm gonna give you proof positive. Ain't none of them done it. The United States government's $5 billion with a B, $1 billion in debt to HBCUs over the last 25 years. $5 billion over the last 25 years. HBCU started in the 1800s. So guess what? How much you owe? If you owe me $5 billion over 25 years, over 125 years, boy, stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. So we don't have any friends in government unless we put them in there. Are we gonna vote our way to Wakanda? No. We ain't voting our way to Wakanda. We ain't finna be running nothing. But what you can do is build a wall around our community systematically and shop with each other. You can shop with me. You can shop with the people I just named. You can shop with anybody who I know and the people who I'm going to continue to support. This is what we need to do. Again, they trying to get you to stop voting for enough of us stop voting for the Democrats. Most of us don't vote for the Republican Party, and then they're going to get us to the moderate party. And this is what happens. They enact the 12th Amendment. This is on, and then again, www.project2025.org is where you go. And these are not my plans. This is their plan. They want to enact the 12th Amendment. What does the 12th Amendment do for you? The 12th Amendment does this. The 12th Amendment does this. If Joe Biden don't get 270 electoral college votes and Trump don't get 270 electoral college vote, the person who runs the Speaker of the House, who they just reappointed, he makes the decision. He, not they. He makes the decision on who the president is. Why do you think they got rid of the dude who was working with people across the aisle? They got their guy, MAGA Mike Johnson. This dude is openly a white nationalist, in my opinion, a white nationalist racist. He is openly that. And guess what? He decides who the president is. And if you think it can't happen, I challenge you this. 3 years ago, Joe Biden was elected. 4 years ago now, but it's November, so 4 years ago. But 3 years ago, he was sworn in. 3 years ago, next month, he is sworn in. 3 years ago, and 4 years before that, 7 years ago, everybody and their mama said, ain't no way Trump gonna be president. And what happened? See, and understand, if you think it couldn't happen, this is all I'm gonna tell you. $50,000, 50,000 voters in Pennsylvania and 50,000 votes in Michigan made Donald J. Trump the president of the United States of America. 100,000 people. 100,000 people. Now, if that same 100,000 people vote vote independent this time and don't vote for Biden, and again, you don't vote for Too Good, and you vote for Sweet Daddy and don't vote for Sweet Daddy, guess what happens? The Speaker of the House controls this thing, and whoever they want in power is the president. And if you don't think that's important, all I have to do is give you this example. Again, fact check me if you like. I challenge you to fact check me if you like. Brittany Watts, just like the Watts, California, Brittany Watts. Brittany Watts went to the hospital last week. Brittany Watts, well, not long ago. Brittany Watts went to the hospital not long ago. She was having internal issues. This is a 33-year-old black woman, 33-year-old young sister in Ohio. 33. She's pregnant. It's at that point, it was a violation of the law to get an abortion. Brittany Watts goes to the hospital twice because she's having this internal issues. She's having woman issues. She goes to the hospital twice. They tell her, like they would tell most young women, it's nothing we can do. You're having a miscarriage. You're having a miscarriage. Now, for those who don't know, when you have a miscarriage in the hospital, on your records it says abortion. Yeah, most people don't know that. When you're having a miscarriage, when you go to the hospital, it says abortion because the body has aborted the fetus. Medical terms, not legal terms. Guess what's happening to Brittany right now? Brittany goes home. Brittany sits on the toilet and proceeds to have a miscarriage. Now, what is Brittany supposed to do? Brittany, look, I've never had, I don't have the ability to have a miscarriage. I've never been through it, but from what I understand, it's a traumatic situation. Think about it, man. You're trying to grow a life inside of you. You've made a commitment to this young person inside of you, and now that person is not going to be here. It has to be emotionally taxing at that point. You lose your baby, you're going to deal with it. And then you see the child that you just lost in the toilet. What are you supposed to do? She attempts to flush the child, the remains of what would have been a child, down the toilet, and now they are prosecuting her for 2 cases of felony abuse of an embryo. When you read the pamphlet in the state of Ohio for people who have miscarriages, it literally says flush it down the toilet or do what you think is necessary. So, did the people at the hospital tell Brittany what to do? No, they said there was no information. But now she's facing 2 accounts of felony mistreatment of a fetus or a dead body. And you got people in charge of this government. These are the people who you're going to vote for. Because at the time, it was Republican-ran state. 2 weeks ago gave the Democratic Party the power. They did away with, they rewrote the Constitution so abortion can never be illegal. So again, am I caping for the Democratic Party? No, I'm not. But I'm just letting you see what's on the horizon for people like you and I. Who gonna defend Brittany? We need to we disappeared on the George Floyd front. We did Tamir Rice. We stopped talking about him. We ain't mad at a homeboy who killed a young boy with the Skittles and everything no more. We ain't mad no more. See, we're reactionary. Let's be proactionary now. That ain't even the word, but let's be proactive now and get in front of this Brittany thing, because Brittany need our help, need our support. See, again, man, it's about dealing with Sweet Daddy or Too Good. I don't want to deal with Too Good. I don't want to deal with Sweet Daddy either. But you know what? We can negotiate with Sweet Daddy, put ourselves in a position where Sweet Daddy needs us. See, I'm being a little facetious at this point, but we have to understand 1 out of every 4 pregnancies in the United States of America, the first trimester results in a miscarriage. According to March and Dimes, 1 out of every 5 results in a miscarriage in the second trimester. So you got people whose lives are in danger. So what if this happens in Louisiana? It's illegal. The governor-elect of Louisiana, he hasn't even been sworn in. They got a water crisis down there. This jackleg dude, he talk about not withholding federal funds for the water situation so you can wash your butt, so you can cook your food, so you can water your crops, because he wants the people who had abortions to be prosecuted. So forget the crops, forget the people, forget the finances in the state. My religious situation is more important. See, we continue to get whitewashed. We continue to get BS. We continue to get sold down the road. We continue to sold a bag of goods. And guess what happens? We continue to get screwed over. I'm about to show you another instance in which you were screwed over too, because we use these terms all the time and we never knew that we were wrong. I'll be right back. This is your man, H-Rap. Check this video out. Two fingers, one word. I'll be back short.
Of Mr. Josiah Hansen, who was the inspiration for the fictional character Uncle Tom. Now, Uncle Tom's character was mistakenly confused with another fictional character by the name of Sambo. In this video, we looked at fact and fiction. But first, here's a word from our sponsor for the discount code.
Josiah Hansen was an author, abolitionist, minister, and Harriet Beecher Stowe's inspiration for Uncle Tom's Cabin. Hansen's father was whipped, got his ear cut off, and was sold south after hitting a white man who tried to rape his wife. Hansen never saw his father again, but this gives us insight into Josiah's character. He became a preacher through memorizing verses, although he couldn't, at the time, read and write. In 1830, Hansen ran away with his wife and two youngest children, walking over 600 miles to Canada, but he didn't stop there.
Now, there's a few things that I would like to reiterate. Now, Hansen's father was whipped and he got his ear cut off and he was sold south. Hansen never seen his father again. And nowadays, we read these atrocities and we talk about these things, but just imagine that. Your father's ear was cut off, he was sold, and you never seen him again. Could you imagine the traumatizing experience that must have been? And just imagine for 1 second the effect that that would have had on young Josiah. Could this be the reason why certain people do not want our history taught in schools? Food for thought.
In 1841, Mr. Hansen helped start a free men's settlement called the British American Institute in an area called Don, which became known as one of the final stops on the Underground Railroad. Hansen repeatedly returned to the U.S. to guide 118 other slaves to freedom.
Now, how many of us knew that? Does this sound like someone that we would consider to be an Uncle Tom? And don't forget, he was the inspiration for the book Uncle Tom's Cabin.
It was a massively dangerous undertaking, but Hansen saw a greater purpose than simply living out his life in Ontario, Canada. In addition to his service to the school, Hansen ran a farm, started a grits mill, bred horses, and built a sawmill for high-quality black lumber. So good, in fact, that it won him a medal at the first World's Fair in London 10 years later.
Yes, folks, this former man who was enslaved was highly talented, highly skilled in many different aspects of his life, and he won a medal at the first World's Fair held in London.
Hansen's life inspired the work of Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin. Tom displayed the following characteristics. He refused to beat black women. He refused to force other black people to pick cotton. He took the cotton out of his own bag and put it in others' bags so those slaves wouldn't get whipped for not having the proper weight. As you know, the enslaved had to pick a certain amount of cotton or they wouldn't be punished. And he refused to tell where attempted escaping slaves were hiding.
Again, does that sound like what we consider to be an Uncle Tom or Uncle Tom or a coon or a sellout? No, this man was highly, highly intelligent and he loved his people. So much so that he would give them cotton so that they would not be whipped. For many years, we have been mistaking Uncle Tom for Sambo. Now, Sambo, the characteristics of Sambo, that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about his characteristics in a minute. See if you recognize anybody in there.
Josiah Hansen was a true hero who helped hundreds of enslaved men, women, and children escape north years before the Underground Railroad. He was a good man and a great leader.
Now, my question is, why don't we know his name? Josiah Hansen. He was a true hero. He helped free over 118 people out of slavery before the establishment of the Underground Railroad. Yes, This man was anything but a sellout, anything but a so-called Uncle Tom. He was a true hero whose name we all should know, Josiah Henson. Now, in the fictional book Uncle Tom's Cabin, the character Sambo and Quimbo, as a matter of fact, they were what would be really considered sellouts and not Uncle Tom. In the book, Uncle Tom actually gave some cotton to one of the workers in the field so that they would not come up short, which is really, as I said, a take on the life of Josiah Henson, who actually did this. Now, in the book, Sambo and Quimbo told the master they loved their master. They loved their master more than they loved themselves. If any of you have seen the movie Django, then the character played by Samuel Jackson Stephen, yes, he was a Sambo. He definitely was not a Uncle Tom. And in the book, when the master found out, he had Sambo and Quimbo beat Uncle Tom. And eventually Uncle Tom died in the book, in the story. Now we all know people who have sold black people out. And unfortunately, we use terms like coons and sellouts and Uncle Toms to those who sell out their own people. The characteristics of those people are no matter what black people do, they always criticize. They always have criticism and harsh words for black people. They'll always try to tell black people what they should and they should not do, while ignoring the bad things that go on in other communities, but they are quick to criticize black people. Like Malcolm X said, when their boss gets sick, they will say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" Now Malcolm said that's the Negro that's out of his mind. The boss gets sick and he says, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" But the fact of the matter is, Josiah Henson was not a sellout. He was a hero to many people, and his story should and must be told. He was not a turncoat. He was not a Benedict Arnold. He was not a so-called coon. He was somebody who loved his people and did what he could to protect his people. And he, in fact, led over 100 people into freedom during the Underground Railroad. Josiah Henson, a real black hero. The Black Excellence and Abundance channel, where black history is every day.
It's inside joke, y'all. I'm back. It's your man H-Rap coming at you live and direct. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Again, as you see, the last 2 weeks I've shown you why eating watermelon shouldn't be embarrassing. And now you realize calling somebody Uncle Tom is erroneous, because Uncle Tom was a hero. And Uncle Tom is a real person who helped his people. That's why they turned it into a bad thing. Watermelon is insanely healthy. It's a superfood, and that's why they turned it into a bad situation. And we used to sell it, and it gave us financial independence, and that's why they made it a bad thing. Anything that's good for us, they make it bad, and then you just walk away from it. If you look up, do yourself a favor, go to YouTube and Google the ice cream song. You'll never buy ice cream off that truck again. I guarantee you. If you Google the ice cream song, you'll be like, good grief. You would be embarrassed. The ice cream man would never be, he might get run out the hood. But like I was saying, man, we are in a situation to whereas the people in the power structure in the United States of America, rich white men, rich white women, poor white women, poor white men, and most white people in the United States of America are anti-black. Look, we're gonna keep it funky, man. And then a bunch of black people anti-black though. Let's keep it funky there too, because it's somebody who's looking at this right now that's saying he shouldn't be tripping. Why he talking about white folks like that? There's some black people out there saying screw them Negro. I don't care. So it's a situation, it's a cyclical situation, and it's a sickening situation, and we must get past that, because I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to the people who are tired of people get drugged. You know what? Guess what? If you hit the Powerball, if you hit the Illinois State Lottery for $6 million a night, you can't take care of everybody in your family. There's going to be some people in your family that's going to still be broke. So that means you just go live high on the hog and just let them starve? No. There's people that got some real good jobs, and they move out of the hood. They take their power and go put it in the other powers. You move from Chicago, you move from the west side or south side of Chicago, you move out to Naperville. But guess what? You moving into the hood of Naperville. You the $300,000-$400,000 homes in Naperville. You ain't over there with the $1 million homes, because you can't afford that, right? And this is what I want you to understand. Start removing your power from our situation, making our situation weaker, and making everybody else's stronger. Again, I say this every week. I'm not telling you to put your family and children in danger. What I am telling you is this. We support the Derrick Roses and the Anthony Davises and the Jabari Parkers and Evan Turners of the world who right here in Chicago, Quentin Richardson and all these Michael Finleys of the world. Well, we need to start doing the Michael Jordans of the world, Scottie Pippens of the world. We need to stop doing that until we start getting something back. See, we ain't getting anything back but bragging rights. Oh, we got 6 championships. What a trophy? The trophy in your front room? No. You just went and bought some more T-shirts to say, I'm from Chicago, we love the Bulls. And then Jerry Reinsdorf walk away with the money. And Michael Jordan moved back to North Carolina with the money. And Scottie Pippen moved back to Arkansas. Well, he might not move back to Arkansas. Ain't nobody moved back to Arkansas. But you know what I mean. And I'm not excoriating them. I'm not. I'm really not. But what we need to do is start putting it in their ear. A lot of us know a lot of these people. We're 6 degrees of separation. You're 6 people away from talking to everybody in the world. I mentioned on Chief Seats last night. I know the Secretary of State of Chicago. I got Scoop Jackson's phone number in my phone. That means I'm about 3 or 4 people away from Barack Obama, 3 or 4 people away from Michael Jordan. Seriously. So what we need to do is start using those connections, and then we need to start using our legal mind, the Thurgood Marshalls of the world, the Jane Coles of the world, let me see, why am I going by memory? And I'm just looking at one of my notes. But there are plenty of people with great legal minds that are in our community, and then they can give us the tools we need to fight back this white nationalist, white Christian nationalism, because those are the people who are attacking us. They are trying to attack us and cloaking themselves in the name of God. One of the greatest lies in the history of the world is told that the founders of this country were super religious. Were they? Most of them were agnostic or atheists. That's why they came over here, because they were tired of the people in Europe, because Europe was a country where 2% of the people could read, so they could dictate to you what the Bible did. And what did they do? They bring those same attributes over here and they enforce it upon you. They stole the stuff from Kemet. They stole the stuff from Africa, all throughout the learning positions in Africa, and brought it up there. Then they perverted it, and then they presented it to you. Dr. Claude Anderson famously said, we used to kneel down and pray, start kneeling down praying with white people. We kneel down. One day we had the land. We kneeled down with white people. We had the book. They had the land. Period. These people, they call themselves Puritans and Pilgrims. They came over here with their religion, and they forced it upon people, and they used their religious doctrine to brainwash people. And now they're doing that same religious doctrine to take out you from history. They want to get rid of the Zernair Hurston. They want to do away with James Baldwin. They want to do away with the sister. She just passed away about 8 years ago. I can't think of her name, but as I talk, I'll think of her name. I could see it. Maya Angelou. Thank you, B. Maya Angelou. They want to do away with these people who empower us with their words. Paul Laurence Dunbar, and so many people they want to get rid of. 1,400 books in just the state of Florida alone have been removed, and they removed it under white Christian nationalism. It is a disrespect to God to teach this stuff. How is it a disrespect to God to dim my light? God told me, it's a song, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light, like Jesus gave it to me, so I'm gonna let it shine. But now all of a sudden, my light harms your light, so you need to get rid of my light. That ain't God. No. That has nothing to do with God. That's everything to do with wicked lies and evil. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Constitution. The first part of the Constitution says separate church from state. what is this? Article 6 says there should never be a law created or enacted that will you could use that will bring favor to religion. Favor to religion. You will never have to pass a test. You'll never have to pass a test to obtain a law. I mean, to obtain a position in the government. That's illegal. A religious test, that's illegal. That's illegal. So if you're gonna use the name of God to get rid of my history, what we're gonna do is use the Constitution. And you got people that say, well, we're originalists. We're gonna go to the original. You know why they're originalists? Because in the original form of Constitution, me and you and people like me and you didn't even exist. We were reduced to less than humans so they can legally enslave us and not have anything to worry about because God told us to, which is a lie. Because God made us in his own image. He made us from dirt, and dirt is brown. And I'm through talking. And that's what we're talking about. And I'm not ashamed to say it. You can tell me, it don't make a difference what color God is. Good. He black. I'm through talking about it. Period. Period. The original man is the black man. The first person ever found on this planet was a black woman. She gave birth to a black man. Period. I'm through talking about it again. But we're going to use their laws in order to do it. And they call themselves, they want to go back, they want to do away with the 13th and 14th Amendment, 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment gives you citizenship. They want to do with birthright citizenships. It's in the Constitution, so they can't get rid of it, but they have to pause. They can pause it. And when you pause it, it's a doctor right now who was born in the United States of America. He is a physician. He's black. And guess what? They trying not to renew his passport, not let him back in the country because they're trying to suspend his 14th Amendment rights. They're trying to say birthright citizenship don't count with you. See, when you don't know the rules, again, back to what Fred Hampton said, if you're not educated on what's going on, they can get you arguing about Republican and Democrats, cats and dogs, pigs and cows. See, I understand. Like people talked to April today. Two-second conversation in the chat room. She was like, I know the people in Chicago sick of the migrants. Nope. I'm fighting a wild, hungry panther every day called white nationalism. The migrants is a pit bull. I'm never going to be not fighting this panther. I fight that pit bull down the road. What we have to do is get that panther up off us. Guess what? We're in a 15-round fight. As soon as that fight ends, they're going to go get another panther. You ain't going to get a chance to breathe. You ain't going to get a chance to rest. You don't get a chance to do any of that. They just got another panther waiting on you. Hungry panther. This one was hungry and strong. That one hungry and stronger. So the fight never ends. The fight never ends. But what we do is continue the 14th Amendment that gives you birthright citizenship. 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship. Fact check me, please. This means if you're born here, you're a citizen. But if you take it back to the original form of the Constitution, then guess what happens? Then we're not humans. See, this is an ongoing plan. They're doing this. They're trying to do this. They want to reenact another situation where you can rewrite the Constitution. Well, we need to rewrite the Constitution. They wrapped all the stuff you giving us saying that the Constitution ain't doing us no good. Yeah, but who you want rewriting? You want to write nationalists like MAGA Mike, MAGA Trump, MAGA DeSantis, MAGA Hot Wheels down there in Texas, MAGA Sarah Huckabee Sanders. These are the people who are trying to get rid of you as a person. You as a human being. Is getting bad. How is it getting bad? You had Dr. King, Malcolm X, and Fred Hampton get shot in the 60s. You had other Black Panthers get shot and killed in the 70s in jail. Geronimo Pratt, Mari Shakur, Assata Shakur, they get shot in jail. There's people, Mike Africa, who's just get out of jail from the 70s. Now it's 2023. Mike Africa Sr. just got out of jail this year from 1978. You had a brother who just got out of jail last November. They locked him up for rape, and then they found out it wasn't him. How many people? I bet you, hey, if you watch the news here in Chicago, while y'all watching, this dude got shot on 4,000 in the 48 of 4,000 block of Madison, and then he got shot on the 100 block of Pulaski. That's the same corner, people. They just tell you the different corners, and y'all think it's two different murders. No, it's not. But back to what I was saying. You got people who are creating these fictitious situations. We're going to argue about the migrants. We're going to argue about what Joe Biden is doing. What about the black people who've been getting killed? Then you put the dope in our community in. And then you put the dope and the cocaine in our community. And you reduce the schools, you reduce opportunities and put people in positions in which they figure there's nothing I can do but wrong. Again, remember that scene in the movie, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X talking. He put some ink in water. He said, if this is all people think they have, that's what they'll drink. And that's what their drug situation is. And in the 90s, you got James Byrd being drugged to death. And you got Arthur Sterling getting shot on the train. You had, can't remember the dude who they shot 36 times for reaching for his wallet, a leather wallet, not a silver wallet, 36 times. He got hit 36 times. Hit him 36 rounds. So how many times did they shoot at him? Is it getting bad or is it's always been bad? You gonna let these same people rewrite the Constitution? No. Again, too good or sweet daddy. Those are your options. Evil and wicked. We deal with evil. Because evil can be detained. Wicked is a never-ending situation, in my opinion. And it's just metaphorically speaking. That's what I'm doing. I'm not saying this is what it is, but this is what it is. Use your head. Just letting you know this is what we're dealing with. You have to protect yourself. You must. We're dealing with people who want to be protected by the law, but not bound by it. You want to be protected by the law, but you're not bound by it. Meaning, I stood my ground. That's the law. But with nobody attacking you, you going to jail. No, I shouldn't go to jail. You want to be protected by the law. So you lock that black dude up because he broke the law. Well, when you stormed the Capitol, that wasn't me. I got a picture of you. You know what? Protected by the law and not bound. But you want me to be bound by the law and not protected. You want me to be bound by the law. You want to lock up black men and women like Sister Watts. But you don't want the protection of the law to put you in jail for killing me. These are the things that we must keep in mind. We must educate ourselves on civics. We must get involved in our civic processes. We must support each other at all times. At all times. Is it going to be perfect? No. But hey, if you have ever gone to a fast food chain restaurant and they never had your food messed up, if you went there again, you need to get black restaurants another chance. Oh man, they running out of stuff. You know, they're running out of stuff because they're spending all their money because you keep going down to Burger King and KFC and you ain't going to the black restaurants. You keep going to Wendy's and that and you ain't going to the black restaurants. We need to get to the point where we only support our people. We need to have grace with our people just like we had grace with other people. And until we learn how to do that, we're going to continue to struggle. And the way these white nationalists, white Christian nationalists are handling it, that's my mother language, your ass is out like a let-out couch, Jack. It's going to be rough out here. Stop giving away your power. Stop giving. It's a capitalistic society. Power is money, not consuming. Consumption is eating yourself. That is something that is eating you. Consumer power is shopping with your own people to expand their companies. And when they expand their companies, they hire your people. Now black unemployment is really down. Fair employment is really down. You don't need unions because you're not going to mistreat your folks. And you're going to promote good, upstanding people to have them spend their money in a circular form and never leave in our community. We can buy gas stations. We can buy grocery stores. We're already doing programs like this. We can buy books. We can do whatever we want to do to make things the way we need them to be. Or you can continue to hope and pray and see how that works out. It ain't been working for the last 54 years. It hasn't been working for the last 54 years. So support your people at all times. With that being said, my nephew is stranded. I gotta go get him. On my way, Dutta. 2 fingers, 1 word. Thank you, people, for tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow for Hold My Bill Sports, where I'm talking about sports, not stats and highlights. I'm going to talk about is Dak an MVP? We're going to talk about that college football situation. 2 fingers, 1 word. It's your man H. Rowland, and I'm out.
We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they dying for this American dream. Them government schemes, they turning us to hustlers and fiends. We hustling trees, them politicians smuggling green. Chasing that cheese, got everybody stressed in the streets. Pardon me for speaking freely, let it breathe. Evangelists preach to congregations out of their seats. They writing them checks for tithes, now his people can't eat. She stripping for change for school, now she giving them brains. She used to that loot, she earning, now she giving them strain. He new to this game, but hungry, so he cooking his cane. He getting that paper, but then they gave him two to the brain. It's rules to this game, but hustlers never hustle for fame. The spirit of greed is grimy, so we struggle to change. They put us in chains to take away our African names. But if we submissive and don't resist, then who do we blame? It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't? You thinking they saints? Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. They gave us Obama, but that nigga was hoping for change. But Zimmerman is killing niggas and he free. Shit is crazy, babies having these babies and getting checked. But keep the child from they pop to rip his heart out his chest. Our rappers was leaders and now they in the booth in the dress. Spitting bullshit and making more but giving us less. They taking our sound and changing ours, dumbing it down. They taking our jobs and homes and they shutting us out. They taking our kids because it ain't a man in the house. They locking us down, but soon they gon' be wiping us out. They told our women they was too independent to need a man. They told our brother he was too insignificant to advance. It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't? You thinking they saints? Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. It's all a game.